Welcome to my video on Ohm's law in electric circuits. First of all, what is Ohm's law? Ohm's law is one of the most important relationships in electricity. It connects three basic quantities. This is going to be the voltage, which is the push that drives electric charge. This could be sometimes called the electromotive force. And then the current, which is the flow of electric charge. And then for every circuit, we have to have some form of resistance. This is how much the circuit resists that flow of the electrons in the circuit, or the electric charges. And the basic relationship is the voltage is equal to current times resistance. Ohm's law is named after George Ohm. He lived from 1789 to 1854. He was a German mathematician, physicist, and teacher, and researcher in electricity. And he came up with this discovery working in electricity, which turns to be extremely important. Now, when we're talking about Ohm's law, we've got three basic elements: voltage, current, and resistance. So the voltage is a measure of the electromotive force, and it's measured in volts. So that's the units of volts. Voltage is volts. Current is measured in amperes, and resistance, represented by R, is measured in ohms, and this is the little Greek symbol omega there, capital. Think of in terms of electricity, in terms of water pipes, and the voltage is like water pressure. The more pressure you have, the more current you can move through a pipe or hose. And resistance is like a clog or a kink in a pipe. It slows the water flow. So the more resistance you have, the less current that flows, or the less water that would flow in a pipe. So that's a good analogy to a certain extent. So we can rearrange Ohm's law to solve for the different, just using basic algebra. So if we solve for the equation for the current, if we know the voltage and the resistance, we can get the current. And if we know the voltage and the current, we can solve for the resistance. And if we want to find the voltage, but we know the current and the resistance, that gives us the voltage in the circuit. So you can just change the circuit around, just do basic algebra to solve for which parameter you need to solve for. Okay, before we look at an Ohm's law circuit, we need to understand the basic elements of a circuit. And every circuit is going to have some form of battery or electromotive force. This is the voltage supply. And this could be a wall outlet in your house, or an independent power supply, but most commonly we see a lot of batteries. And then we have some form of resistance, and this is these are color-coded resistors. They come in different sizes and different ohmage values and different power ratings depending on how much current they can handle without burning up. And then, of course, you've got to have some form of conductor that connects everything together, and this is going to be, in this case, copper wire. So that's the simplest of circuits to get us started. All right, let's look at an example. So we have a 12-volt battery, and this is how we would represent a circuit element of a battery. We've got a plus and a minus, because we've got current to flow, and this would be the convention. It's going to go from minus to plus. You can reverse that convention. It's just a way of thinking about how the current is flowing. A 12-volt battery is connected to a 3-ohm resistor, so there's your resistor. And what is the current in the circuit? Now this represents, this A here represents it's an amp meter. This is going to measure our current that flows. So if we use our Ohm's law, the current is equal to voltage divided by resistance. We've got 12 volts divided by 3 ohms. That gives the units of 4 amps. So that's how much current is flowing in this circuit. Now let's look at another example. If a circuit draws 2 amps of current with 6 ohm resistance, what is the voltage? So in this case, we know the current. We're given it as 2 amps, and we know the resistance is going to be 6 ohms. So resistance is 6 ohms. Current is going to be 2 amps. So we want to know what this voltage is that causes this current to flow. So that's what we're trying to solve for, is this voltage. So voltage is equal to current times resistance. We've got 2 amps as our current. That's our I value. And we have got 6 ohm of resistance. So 2 times 6 is 12 volts. So we put 12 volts across this resistor, which has a resistance of 6 ohms. We're going to get 2 amps of current to flow. Well, I hope you got something out of this video on Ohm's law. It's just an introduction, but it's a very important part of electricity to understand. If you did, give me a like, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.